your daily leftist detox counselor, your fearless host, Brock Lawley.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. I'm your fearless host. Well, apparently the left, specifically the leftists on Twitter, are tweeting, are ablaze. Just all of a sudden the media becomes the most respectful, honest, integrity-infused entity in our society, apparently. And of course, it just so happens to coalesce and correlate with Donald Trump taking them on, the reptilian rats that they are. I find this to be hilarious. So my social media feed is ablaze with stories of noble journalists. Journalists of the utmost integrity. What a profession this is, we're being told. Oh, they're brave. Oh, they're brave. Speaking truth to power. Impartial. The arbiters. The conduits of truth. It is the most insane time we are living in, ladies and gentlemen. Up, down, down. Up, right, left, right. Everything is inverted. So Donald Trump basically calls a spade from my take. And you guys already know this, cards on the table. The media is just the most evil entity. Yes, there's ISIS. Yes, there's domestic problems. Yes, we have real enemies. But we can't address any of those things, and we can't problem solve any of those things because we do not have a media. So I find this whole conversation hilarious on a lot of levels because it's as if we're speaking about the tooth fairy. That's how I look at this argument, this conversation. But the tooth fairy, I mean, they bring us $5 bills when we lose our molars. And the tooth fairy, I mean, where are we going to be in society without a substantial, respected tooth fairy? And I'm like, hello? There is no tooth fairy. What are we talking about? There's no tooth fairy. Tooth fairy doesn't exist. We're being told we need a free media. What will we be without a media? That's the left's line, line of the week. It changes it doesn't matter. These things all change. They're interchangeable. Next week it'll be another hysterical chicken leg sky is falling scenario that we have to deal with to stop Donald Trump. But all of a sudden, because Donald Trump just basically says the media is despicable, they're lying 24 hours a day. Now our media is just the noble watchdog. Anyway, there is no media. It doesn't exist. There's no media that gets up and says, man, these shady things are going on. We got to inform the American people of it. We got to call balls and strikes. Where, when, why, what, check. Journalist integrity 101. This doesn't exist. Acting and speaking and communicating as if this exists when everybody knows this doesn't exist is just preposterous. It's like the naked emperor is prancing around and I'm the only one that's saying this dude's naked. There's no clothes. There's no robe. He's buck naked, drifting in the breeze here. There is no media. What you have in the alphabet soup is corporate and political interests that do nothing but encircle their own influence, their own power, their own political arrangements and political partisan, likenings. That's all that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, 2004, Journalist comes out. Do I need to cite these? They're exposed colluding with the Democratic Party. They're sending emails colluding. 2016, WikiLeaks exposes hundreds of correspondence between the Democratic Party and the media. Should we write this story? What should the headline be? How can we attack your opponent in this way? Does this suffice? Does this pass your likening? This is fact. This is their own emails. Dan Rathergate, makes up an entire story about George W. Bush's National Guard service. Completely fabricated from whole cloth. Donna Brazile, 2016, gets caught. CNN gives the questions of the debate to Hillary Clinton. This is known. This is factual. Ladies and gentlemen, the stories, they're remarkable. ClimateGate, complete made-up nonsense. These things there's so many of these. This isn't even a debatable thing anymore, unless we're just completely throwing out what we know of reality and painting on the canvas our own desires with the paintbrushes of our own political opinions. These are all facts. We don't have a media. There isn't a watchdog that Trump is bullying. My favorite thing about this conversation is the left is like, only tyrants criticize the media. Only Stalin and Mao-like tyrants will ever speak against the media. We have like 80 hours of President Obama, not even 2 years ago, going scorched earth on Fox News and talk radio, every other press conference, naming them, calling them out by name. And these people look at the camera, or they report, or they commentate with a straight face. I mean, what do we make of a president who would besmirch or talk down to media outlets, tell them that they're not doing, up and up journalistic work? I mean, this is unbelievable to me. All this stuff is a Google search away from verifying. I mean, these people speak as though I don't have access to the internet. Anyway, here's what is actually happening in the world you actually live in, where actual things affect your actual life. You have no media. I know this because I've sat on some of these editorial boards. I've sat in some of these meetings. I've been told to do different stories. What you have is a partisan bunch of hacks that cherry pick headlines, that wrench out of context, that tell stories, don't tell other stories. And even if they do tell the story, they contextualize it in a way that fits their own agenda. That's a fact. What you have is a bunch of media who is not vetting Donald Trump. They are making up nonsense. They are making up stories. Now, this is my disclaimer to this podcast. Absolutely, we need media vetting power. That's not happening, but we do need it. We don't need media making up complete and total. There's not even seeds of truth in these things. Complete and total, unsubstantiated nonsense, all the while not reporting things that actually are happening. Real things that exist, things that have taken place. Not figments of the editorial board of the New York Times' imagination, but things that are actually transpiring on the globe and domestically. So we have no media. There is no media. What you do have is an alternative media that's as vibrant as ever. You have an internet. You have access to information all the time. Everybody you know has a camera. So everywhere there is information being given to you. Granted, it requires you to sift through it, vet it with your own imagination and common sense. I think that's always been the responsibility of an informed constituency. Yeah, you don't have a lack of information. There's more information at your disposal than ever. What you have is the alphabet soup talking heads have lost it. They've lost credibility for their own. That's their own fault. They're hacks. They've been exposed as hacks. So yes, we have a weakened establishment, what I always call the statist media. But that doesn't mean you have no media. And lastly, my favorite thing about this is, I got to tell you, so all these journalists are out there posting pictures of their coworkers in like troublesome areas and telling us that they're heroes of freedom. These very same journalists, I just want to point this out, these very same journalists not only didn't report the VA scandal, and this scandal involves heroes who actually took shrapnel in the butt for your freedom and your livelihood. These men were languishing in hospital beds while the VA, the bureaucratic federal VA, doctored numbers, doctored waiting lists so that they could continue to receive bonuses off the coffers of the taxpayer, while hard, tried and true veterans who laid their lives and their health and their psychology on the line while they languished and died in hospital beds. These so-called journalists wouldn't dare report any of this. Why? Because it affected the Democratic Party in power. But now I'm supposed to believe that they're brave, that I should acquaint these guys, because that's what they're doing. They're equating themselves with the troops. It makes me sick. Give me a break. Thank you for listening to the Brock Lawley program. Be a people of fortitude, character, and actual courage.
Democrats will regret the power grab.